Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I need to issue a formal apology to anyone that listened to Friday's episode. I was very quickly informed that it's actually not Tory Lanez, it's Tory Lanez, and I just put this very bougie flair on his name. And when the first comment came through about that, I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I was sitting on the couch with my husband and we were looking at it, just dying. Like we were laughing so hard. I literally laughed for like an hour. I could not get over it. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm dead. And then I had comments of people, you guys being like, oh my God, I had to like run to the comments to see if anybody else commented about this. I had to check if maybe I just thought his name was wrong, like if I was saying it wrong this whole time. It is not Linez, it is Lanes. I just had never heard it said out loud, okay? I've only read it in relation to Megan Thee Stallion. I just put my own flair on it, I guess. All right, before I get into the stories for today, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. It helps us so much. I'm noticing you guys are rating, and I'm so thankful because we are trying to get to 1,000 Spotify star ratings. Let's say by the end of the year. Let's give us like 3.5 months. Leave us an Apple review, subscribe to us on YouTube, all that good stuff. All right, the first story that I have for you guys is Pilates Body Raven is facing backlash after she seemingly posted a hot take about why Pilates should remain not diverse and inaccessible. And you will understand why I said seemingly in a minute. So, Raven, who goes by Pilates Body Raven on social media, is a fitness influencer and former reality star from Love is Blind Season 3. She has a popular online Pilates business where she charges $39.99 per month or $479 a year for her virtual program. Most in-person Pilates classes cost like $40, basically that exact price, for a single class. So that's why this entire saga is even more confusing. A few days ago, Raven posted a quote-unquote hot take on TikTok about why the price of Pilates is justified. I think that's what she was getting at.
This is going to be an extremely hot take for my Pilates girls. What are some words that you think about when you think of like a really nice designer brand? I think of legacy, think about craftsmanship. I know a lot of the products are probably like handmade. People check them over and over again to make sure the quality is there, okay? The design is there. And that's why we pay top dollar, we pay our top coins for these designer items, right? Like you would never walk into Bottega and be like, where's the diversity? Where's the accessibility? Babe, there is no accessibility. This is Bottega. I want you to think the same way about Pilates. And I know a lot of us who've just gotten into this, or maybe we're new instructors, we like haven't been trained. Pilates is a legacy. Okay. People have worked generations to preserve this method of exercise. To even just training an instructor classically through a good program takes 500 hours minimum.
You can probably see why I said I think, because the point she was trying to make was confusing. It was not very strong. And there are very mixed opinions about like what she was trying to get across. However, this confusion, of course, has really snowballed. A lot of people are taking her video in bad faith. I didn't know who she was before this. I don't have any opinion on her. This is not me being like parasocial about her. I'm just saying like there are conflicting, I guess, ways that people have taken this video. But the vast majority of people have taken it or interpreted it as her saying like, this is why, basically trying to justify this is why Pilates is exclusive, reserved for whiteness, and if it was diverse, then it would cheapen the experience.
You really on my phone trying to gentrify exercise. Pilates was started by Joseph Pilates, some dude that didn't have the means to exercise the way he wanted to, so he did some makeshift stuff and putting together hospital beds and stuff in Germany. You trying to tell me it's only accessible to rich if designer exercises now? And then she's gonna say, well, it takes 500 hours to become a Pilates instructor minimum. That's what she did, one of them, minimum. And who taught you that? It take 1,500 hours just to become a barber.
This has led to a flood of videos on TikTok pushing back, obviously, and talking about the origins of Pilates and how that was actually anything but like elevated or exclusive. So, for anyone who doesn't know, the Pilates method was created in the early 20th century by a German man named Joseph Pilates. He designed a system of exercises called chondronology to help him recover from childhood illnesses. During World War I, he adapted and refined the practice using bed springs to build resistance-based equipment for rehabilitating injured soldiers. And he did a lot of this while he was in prison. Now, despite Raven's take and how TikTok is taking it, a lot of people, especially on Reddit, are defending her, saying that she just didn't articulate herself well. So this one comment on Reddit says, "I don't think she articulated it well, but I took it to mean that a well-trained instructor has put in 500 hours, which takes time and money. Basically, you get what you pay for." Pilates is inaccessible because good instructors are paid what they are worth and therefore out of reach for a lot of people. She didn't say, nor do I think she was trying to imply that it should be inaccessible. Another comment says, her whole thing is making it accessible. Free classes, modifications, advancements, so every class is for every body at every level. The internet loves to hate. Her membership is $39.99 a month, and the app/site have so many options. Y'all can read into whatever and cancel her, but this is someone who cares for making things accessible. Okay, so Raven has removed her original video and has now addressed the backlash in an apology video.
I want to address what I said in my previous video. Start by saying classism, elitism, or anything adding to the larger conversation of like exclusion in wellness or fitness is unacceptable. Insight is always 2020, and I see how my words contributed to that narrative. And even though that wasn't my intention, I know that intention doesn't erase impact. But my mission has always been to share my passion for Pilates and wellness with as many people as possible, specifically women. Like, I care about women and everyone else too, but I really care about supporting women. If I made you feel like Pilates wasn't for you, I have literally failed at my entire mission and let y'all down. Honestly, being a Black instructor in this space is what motivates me to consistently perfect my craft, to make the best possible product that I can, and to try to get the Pilates word out there with as little barriers as possible. However, creating accessibility is about more than content. It's also about culture, words, nuance, actions, and I missed the mark.
Unfortunately, the internet won't let her have this either because everyone's saying that it sounds like this was written by ChatGPT. And obviously, I have no idea if this was written by ChatGPT or not. And I know we've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but it does concern me that it seems collectively we just like jump to believing that people are using generative AI in situations where they sound articulate, well-spoken, when something sounds too polished. We saw this with the M- discourse, like justice for the M-. I have written with M-dashes for literally years and years and years. My entire craft before Centennial was writing. Like that was literally what I was, a writer. And I have used M-dashes. Every writer that I know in media uses M-dashes. And now we're all afraid to write properly with M-dashes because someone's going to be like, ChatGPT. People think our deep dives are written by ChatGPT because they're like academic. Like, I just can't. So I don't know if she used ChatGPT. Maybe it's not how she normally talks. Like I said, I wasn't super familiar with her before this, but like I can't with those accusations. Some people are actually just well-spoken. Some people are actually just well-researched. Some people know how to write. How do you think ChatGPT learned to use M-dashes? They're trained with academic sources. Okay, anyways. So I actually am happy that we're having this conversation though, like around Pilates, because the wellness industry and that like Pilates princess elitism, like it is out of control right now. And I love how now social media is flooded with all these videos talking about how Pilates was invented by a circus performer in a prison, basically. Not because I want like a gotcha moment for the Pilates girlies, but as somebody who is very entrenched or immersed in the online fitness community myself, the elitism is damaging, especially to beginners who are made to feel totally out of place in these spaces. Like I started my hardcore fitness journey in 2017, and I'm so glad that I did it back then and not now, because back then there were just fewer expectations on what working out looked like from like an aesthetic point of view. And it made the experience for me a much less daunting to get into the gym. There were fewer expectations that working out looked a certain way, and also that it was for a certain type of person, I feel. I do think this like Pilates princess aesthetic vibe has really altered who we feel is worthy of like working out and looking cute and wearing these matching sets and having like the whole like experience around working out. The next story that I have for you guys is that TikTok star Katie Fang has landed a column for The Cut. Okay, so Katie is 19. I had no idea until I started researching for this story. I watch her on and off. Like when she comes up on my For You page, I'll watch her videos. I had no idea she was so young. Obviously, you can tell she's young, but like I can't believe she's so young. I was shook to the core. So yeah, she has been tapped by The Cut for a beauty column. So she's a New York City based creator. She shot to TikTok fame for her makeup routines and her Get Ready With Me videos. She's actually Canadian girly too, like me. She's from Vancouver, and she built her following of over 6 million in just 2 years, and then obviously now lives in New York. So she will be writing for The Cut on what's popular and trending in the beauty space. This is from The Cut's announcement. Quote, in true Fang fashion, her column debuts today with a post on the makeup products she would splurge on and those she would skip. Intel Fang has gathered while trying the hundreds of products that she gets sent. Consider her your younger or older sister who always has a scoop on the best and latest beauty launches. Okay, so I don't know if this will really work, to be honest. I still don't think like the .com is where young people want to be getting their information from. I think this might have worked better if it was in a newsletter format. I'm not sure if like on their website as a .com it will work. But I still love that The Cut is truly one of the only like really mainstream media brands collaborating with the creator economy in actual like relevant and interesting ways, rather than looking at creators as competition. That's a huge problem, at least in the Australian media industry. There is so little collaboration between media and influencers slash creators, and all the budgets just go to influencers and creators because media cannot find interesting, meaningful, relevant ways to work with them too, except for us. Okay. The next story that I have for you guys is that Ed Sheeran has addressed criticism from online commentator The Swiftologist in a new podcast for the New York Times. Ed Sheeran, he just did a podcast interview with the New York Times, and in it, he addressed some criticism that he's received from The Swiftologist, and this has become kind of like a big piece of news amongst pop culture and music fans online. I've talked about The Swiftologist a few times lately, but his name is Zachary. He's 28 years old and he makes like music critique slash commentary content. He's divisive because many find his delivery quite harsh. But I will say he's also one of the main online voices right now who is like quite big that's doing like actual critiques of the music industry, and he's not afraid to give like negative feedback or negative reviews. Fandom culture has made it so that like journalists who give actual critiques of new music or of artists are sometimes harassed so harshly that it's really challenged and changed music journalism, especially when it's done on social media specifically. And this is only made worse by the kind of like collective mindset that everyone seems to have now, where it's like, oh, just let people like what they want, don't be such a hater. And that mentality just goes against like the entire discipline of art critique. So I don't really subscribe to that. But anyways, a few months ago, Zachary, he made content about how Ed Sheeran has fallen off. And one of his main reasons was because Ed Sheeran is too focused on numbers and not focused enough on the art of creating music. Now, Zachary referenced an interview that Ed Sheeran had done years ago, saying that he woke up every day and checked his streaming numbers. Interestingly, when this happened, Ed Sheeran actually responded. He was in the comment section, okay? And then his official like Instagram, it's like a fan page, but also his official Instagram, it's called EdHQ, made fun of the Swiftologist in a post like right after that happened. So the EdHQ page posted a photo of a fan holding a sign that read list of pricks. Number 1, Rod Stewart. Number 2, the Swiftologist. And number 3, all of Norwich City FC. So like this commentary undoubtedly got under Ed Sheeran's skin. Now, in this new podcast interview with the New York Times, Ed Sheeran was asked if this is something that he's still obsessed with. And he basically said no. So this is what he said. I sort of got over all of that at the end of the Divide tour. I think all of that was linked to being a quite unpopular, nerdy kid at school who played music that everyone took the piss out of. No one ever really thought that I'd be successful. Then success started to happen, and I was getting obsessed with the fact that success was happening and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I describe it like if Usain Bolt sets a record, someone's going to break that record eventually, and I think he's probably got over that fact. But everything I was doing seemed to be working, and I was pushing it further and further. After the Divide Tour had broken all these records and Shape of You had done this and that, it got to the point where I was like, cool, I've done it and someone else is going to beat those records, but at least I've done it. Then you can kind of move on. So what this new podcast interview has done is start this big discourse on TikTok about the relevancy of online creators and how they are starting to shape mainstream pop culture in very meaningful ways. I mean, I agree with that. I think somebody like the Swiftologist has much bigger reach, especially to younger audiences than, I don't know, probably Pitchfork or, Billboard, some of those kind of bigger like industry music publications that would typically be doing these critiques. But I also want to say, like, in defense of Ed Sheeran, I actually understand why he would want to clear this up, because that became like a big narrative. Like I said, the Swiftologist has a huge platform. And I understand why he'd want to clear this up, because like two things can be true. You can be obsessed with being successful at your craft while also doing it for the love of that craft. Like Ed Sheeran never said that he plays music or creates music so that he can have the biggest streaming numbers and break records. Like, he obviously does it for himself because that's what he loves and what he's good at, what he's passionate about. But at the same time, of course, you would like to be successful at the thing that you are trying to do and trying to like make a living from. That's how I take it. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, this is just a quick little update from the story that I reported on Friday about the Gen Z Nepalis who are protesting against government corruption and a national social media ban, which, as we know, resulted in the prime minister stepping down from his post. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole story because I literally just reported on it in last week's episode, like on our most recent episode. But the update is that this group of Gen Z activists have selected a new candidate to run for prime minister to represent their interests via a poll on Discord. This is so cool. Okay, so this is from the ABC. Quote, within 6 months, a national election will be held alongside the essential amendments needed to safeguard the future of our youth and generations to come. The post by Hami Nepal, one of the organizations behind the protests, read, a step necessary to prevent an inevitable power vacuum. The plan, select a representative to present their agenda to the president, followed by an election in 6 months and a promise that every citizen will have the right to cast their vote freely and choose their candidate. So yeah, they literally had a poll on Discord. Like, that's so cool. This is so badass. I'm obsessed with this story. They are so cool. I hope they get everything that they want. All right, guys. Well, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. Buy us a coffee if you feel so inclined. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.